That was Bob Dylan. Things have changed.
I heard you quite like Bob Dylan.
Maybe a tiny bit. Anyway, that was an Oscar-winning song for Best Original Song from 2000. This is Real Opinions on this Oscar Sunday. And we are going to be offering up some of our favourite film songs, or Oscar-winning original songs, throughout the show. And we'll be having some predictions.
I was actually surprised. When we were looking through them, I wasn't aware that it's one of like the oldest Oscars. It's been around since like the 30s.
Wow.
I assumed it was one of the newer ones that they added later. But it wasn't.
But no.
No.
There you go. There's history. Real history on Real Opinions. So, yeah, we've got a couple of reviews coming up, haven't we?
Yeah, we got Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Is that how you say? Is it Pride and
It's Pride and Prejudice
It
and
shouldn't
Zombies.
be. It shouldn't be, should it? It should be Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies. That's just grammatically
Yeah, it's
incorrect.
grammatically incorrect. I think they're trying to be
It's just
zany,
because they're
aren't they?
adding it. It's tacked on at the end.
I know, but it's annoying. I don't like saying it. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. It's really difficult. I have to make myself add in the and.
1 out of 10 bad grammar.
Then you were going to do Room.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Room, which is...
I mean, it's tipped to win Best Actress, basically.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I don't think it's tipped to win anything else. I mean,
No.
Spotlight was kind of the second, and then this is like the third for Best Film. Like,
Yeah.
roughly.
And Lenny Abraham's up
Yeah.
for an Oscar as well, isn't he? Directing?
He may be, but I don't
think
think
so,
there's a
yeah.
chance of him getting it.
No, not at all. So that was Bruce Springsteen's Streets of Philadelphia. Best original song, not from 1988, from 1993. So our first factual inaccuracy of the show.
That's some weird
on my
inaccuracies.
part. Yeah. Anyway, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Okay.
I mean,
We
it came
did
out quite
see-
a while ago, didn't it?
we saw it a while ago, but then we've wanted to... Each week we've put it off because we wanted at least 2 people to be there because it's not the kind of thing that...
It's definitely the kind of thing that you got to bounce off each
Yeah,
other.
no, if we were reviewing it on our own, it would just be sad. It would just be really sad.
It just got to be one of us sitting in the corner just laughing to themselves about how strange it is.
It's... Well, it's just Pride and Prejudice in terms of the story, albeit with zombies. It's set in this weird, confusing world where the law's all thrown at you in the first 2 minutes. So basically, there are zombies, and there's a wall, and there's... what?
When I kind of went into it, I was expecting, so it plays out like the beginning of normal Pride and Prejudice, and then zombies show up. And I thought that would be... At least there's kind of room for comedy there, but it's not. It's like it's a world that's based around what if zombies came over. Was it when they're kind of expanding the empire and it comes kind of like the Black Death?
And so people are brought up around knowing zombies exist, and like the women, instead of being brought up to like learn like social etiquette or whatever, are brought up to fight zombies. And there's like a weird thing where some of them go to Japan, some of them go to China, but it doesn't seem to matter.
So their version of class divides in this film is that if you're poor, you go to Japan. I can't even remember.
I don't remember which way around it is.
If you're poor, so if you're poor, you go to China or Japan, and if you're rich, and you go to the other one.
And one teaches you to fight zombies with martial arts, and so it's Pride and Prejudice with martial arts, a weird alternate universe, and zombies that talk. So they're not like shuffling with... It's very confusing.
So it's basically...
It properly throws you in with this like title sequence where Charles Dance explains everything. And you're like... It reminded me of like... If you never watched Game of Thrones and you just jump in at the 5th season and someone tries to tell you everything that's happened in Game of Thrones up until that point, you just sat there going like, what? Who? the what? And it expects you to know. So then it opens, and Mr. Darcy is like some zombie hunter guy who goes around like trying to see who's... Because zombies don't turn into zombies properly until they eat flesh.
Yeah, it's kind of like a... It's not like it's a bit like The Thing in some ways.
Yeah.
That's,
so they had
that's
to go,
a too positive comparison.
Yeah. So he goes around like checking to see who zombies are, like, and then he just kills them. And so it plays out as normal Pride and Prejudice with the kind of love triangle between
it's kind
Elizabeth Bennet, Mr. Darcy, and I believe it was Mr. Wickham.
I mean,
the other guy.
Don't worry, if you know the plot to Pride and Prejudice, you know the love triangle in a way. I mean, it's kind of just... It's just...
If you've seen Bridget Jones, then you know the plot.
But it's the fact that it's got this random zombies thing shoved in, and it's. I mean, I know that maybe in the book it's a bit funnier or it focuses more on the zombies, but it's just tacked on, really.
And they're not there.
They're not even.
It's like there's a whole chunk in the middle of the film. I would say, I don't know how long it was, but I would say it was like a good solid 40 minutes where no zombies appeared.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely like, where?
What is happening? What's the, it's the fact that even when they do show up, it's the most random points. So, for instance, they'll be at a dinner party where they're acting like normal Pride and Prejudice, and then one of the girls will go outside, Lily James, the main that plays Lizzie Bennett, and then there's just a zombie standing there, and the zombies, for some reason, they can talk, like we said, but they're so eager to give away their evil plan.
Yeah.
Because they go up to them and they go, "Shh, someone's let us in." And she's like, "What?" And she goes, "Someone's let us in." And then
random cut,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they're inside a building. There's 3 of them in slow motion fighting zombies, and you're just like, "What? What?" It's like it's like a music video started in the middle of the film, and you're just like, "Wait, what?" There's no build up. There's no like, the zombies are inside now, and then it cuts to it. It just literally cuts to the middle of it, and you're like, "Whoa, what?" There's so many points like that. There's like one bit where
there's another party later on where it has the exact same thing as well,
Yeah.
where she goes into the cellar and there's a bunch of zombies there, and they go like, "You can't stop us now." Or
Then they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Like, we've been let inside, I think they say, and the whole. So so there's random zombies thing put in, but also the fact that it's about class divides in the zombiness. So, for instance, if you're a zombie but you haven't eaten human brains, you just function normally. And so they
but for some reason still deserve to be killed.
But for some reason they still deserve to be killed. But they go to the Church of Lazarus, and it's such a...
it's so... overly complex for what should be a simple, funny idea. It's Pride and Prejudice. They're all sitting around having their dinner parties, and then zombies come. They make it so complex and so baffling that you feel like you need to read, like a whole book full of like lore and backstory to understand. And the whole point is that it's supposed to just be a high concept, silly thing. And then they don't even exploit it properly, because the humour should be coming from, haha, look, it's Jane Austen, but then there's zombies. But they make them totally separate things.
Well, we thought that at the trailer stage, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like it should be funny, like they should be sat around having dinner parties or whatever, and then zombies burst in. It's like, haha, that's funny, because that's not what Jane Austen is. But no, it's not like that. It's like they sit around having dinner parties, you watch the whole dinner party, and then you cut to a zombie film that's happening in the other cinema. And you're just like, what? It doesn't make any sense. A really tame, boring zombie film where zombies don't bother to show up.
I think it's the point that you also said. It's not like you kind of go in, you could kind of expect like an action comedy, but it's not. There's action, and then there's the comedy is then when they're sat at the dinner table and they're giggling about who's going to marry who.
Yeah, it's just the normal Jane Austen comedy. It doesn't, like, you're confused. You're like, is it a parody? Is it an homage? What is this? Because all the jokes are just normal Jane Austen jokes.
But
those, I can tell you for a fact, are not funny.
It's just, I don't know why you could be a fan of this film, because it's not a good, it's not a good Jane Austen film. I mean, I don't.
It's not a good comedy. It's not.
I mean, I don't even. I would admit that I don't care for Jane Austen at all. But at the same time, I know the difference between a good adaptation and then this.
And it's so. I don't want to get too technical when it is such a bad film.
Yeah.
But it's one of the worst edited things I've ever seen.
It's so jumpy and it's so.
It's almost bordering on avant-garde at times. It's just so surreal. And like, you can tell that there's either been severe cuts.
It did feel like there were whole scenes that were cut out.
Because, like we said, sometimes zombies just appear out of nowhere. There's this whole plot elements are set up that disappear. Like, oh, there's the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. What about them? I don't know. They're there. And then they do nothing. They're just there.
Throughout the whole film, they're kind of setting up this big baddie, which then... the big baddie appears... in the shot before the credits. And that's like, it's not like Cabin in the Woods. It's not like it's the whole point of that is that it's ending. It's just, it's like, okay.
But they don't do anything, do they? They're just there. No. It's as funny as much as we're laughing, it's also really quite dull for the most part.
Yeah, there are moments where you laugh at it, and there's moments where you just want it to end. That's the two settings that you have throughout the whole film.
And the acting's fine.
Fine.
Nothing more than fine.
There's no bad ones, obviously, but I mean, just because it's...
But even
they're
the
competent
sort of,
actors.
like, the Jane Austen-y stuff's not like the costume design ain't that great. There's some points where it looks like a bad BBC drama. It's like really cheap. And
I thought it looked like CBBC drama at some points. Yeah,
like so even things as sort of like easy and as sort of commonplace for these things as the costumes aren't that well done. There's that one bit as well. Sorry, I don't want to go too much into spoilers, but it's a bad film.
Yeah.
But there's that one bit where he goes where that guy goes, "Oh, just come with me. I've got something to show you." If I came up to you and went like, "Oh, James, come with me. I've got something to show you," you would not expect me to take you on a 5-hour horse ride across the country because that is what happens.
It then cuts to a shot of a map, and they're literally going across about a tenth of the country,
he just
the entire
really
country.
Walks up to her and goes, "Come here, I got something to show you." And then, like Indiana Jones style map thing.
You could kind of argue against this film is that a lot of people have kind of put it as, but it's quite good because it's kind of showing. It's taking the Pride and Prejudice where there's kind of typical kind of princessy almost women, and then they're saying, but no, they can fight, they can do all this stuff, but they only fight in one slow-mo scene and another one where it's a fight against a human that she then loses. So there's no real fight scenes whatsoever. There's also, they set up Lena Dunham as like the best female fighter in the entire country.
Lena Headey, you mean?
Lena Headey. Who's Dunham?
I don't know. But Lena Headey.
And that just kind of sets up as like. They say she's the best fighter in the entire country. They never see her fight at all.
So it does feel really cut and really rushed and really just awful.
Yeah.
In almost every way.
What would you give it a rating out of, roughly?
I feel like I wasn't as angry at it as like say a 2 would suggest.
No, I wasn't angry with it at any point. It was just...
It's just bad.
Yeah.
3.
I'd say 3, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. So
we went on for that for a long time.
Sorry, neither of you really had the time of your lives, did you?
No. Okay, it's not going to play.
That was meant to be a seamless transition into.
It's not. It doesn't want to play at all. Should we try YouTube?
We'll have to YouTube it. We can seamless fashion.
Oh no. So this. Which year did this win in? Do we remember? Or
no,
this is.
I think it's 86.
86.
Or 80,
so this is
kind of time.
This is famous from one of Harrison's favourite films, Dirty Dancing.
It's one of my favourite films.
And it's Bill Medley with Jennifer Warnes, and it's I've Had the Time of My Life from, Dirty Dancing.
And the I've had is in brackets.
It's very essential that you remember that.
I do remember. Did you have a better time watching that film than you did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies?
Yeah. I would rather watch Dirty Dancing for the rest of my life on a loop.
Wow. Bold statement.
Actually, I might just do that anyway.
You heard it here first. So, anyway, another, well, I say another, because Pride and Prejudice and Zombies certainly isn't up for any Oscar nominations.
I hope not.
But Room is up for 4 Oscar nominations.
Oh, so it's Best Actress, was it?
Best Actress.
Screen adapted, is it?
It's Best Picture, Best Actress, Best Achievement in Directing, and Best Writing adapted screenplay. So interestingly, the adapted screenplay actually adapted by the author of the original book.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. Yeah,
based on a book. So that's interesting. It's nice that she's kind of getting recognised for that, I guess.
I think it's quite good when they kind of have the novelist adapts it to the screenplay because they know what they want to convey, and especially if they know what the difference is between conveying on film and conveying in the novel, because they did that with Gone Girl, and that was actually probably one of the strengths of it, to be honest.
And then you don't get the author whinging about
why
did you sell the rights for millions of dollars?
as long as they're not too precious and like don't want to change anything.
Yeah. But shall we just quickly go into kind of quick synopsis of what Room is?
Of Room. Basically, it's about a mother and her child, and the child has been born with her in captivity because they've been locked up in a room by a creepy man for.
You're laughing so much; it sounds so funny.
It's not funny. The boy is called Jack, and he lives with his mother, Ma. But his whole life has been spent inside Room. So Room is his world, and they eventually manage to escape, and the film then kind of shifts its focus to how Ma and Jack kind of adapt to the outside world, basically.
Yeah, cool. I feel like they shouldn't have shown that in the trailers because they focus so much in the trailers about how he does get out and how they do get out.
It's like a Castaway situation.
It's about halfway through the film as well. So and it's part of the interesting part, especially in the beginning, is whether or not they will get out.
Yeah.
And I felt like if you went in not watching the trailers,
Well,
it would definitely prefer.
And did you see it with me for Odeon Unscreened?
No.
I see. So I saw it with Odeon Unscreened, so I saw it quite a while ago now.
So you hadn't seen it without any of that?
Hadn't seen a trailer for it. So went in totally without that knowledge, which maybe kind of gave it a bit of a
It sounds like a Castaway situation. Like the trailers for Castaway show him getting back home.
Oh, really?
And that's like a significant portion of the film. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was a good, like, I kind of went in a bit ambivalent about it just because it's not Oscar baity in any way, but it's definitely like the kind of emotional films that you get around this time of year. And it's definitely one of the stronger ones that we've had in a while, I would say.
Yeah.
In that it didn't feel like it was trying to hark on about any particular issue, it just felt like a good character story.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole like space of the room was really well done. I know that they actually filmed within a really restricted space, so they had the cameras inside this because they wanted to kind of properly reflect the claustrophobia of it.
Yeah.
And that works really well because for sort of half the film, your scope is limited to basically what Jack's is.
Yeah. And I thought that was both a kind of a strength and a hindrance in some parts of the film. So, for instance, the concept of the film is that although all this stuff is happening, it's from Jack's perspective. So it's not from Ma as she kind of learns to adapt, because she's already seen the real world. It's much more interesting here to look from Jack, as he's kind of got the child's view, but it's from such a singular kind of small space. And and it works very well in the beginning when you're in the room and you're just seeing everything from Jack's perspective. So when the guy comes to visit Ma in the night, like, you're seeing it from inside the cupboard and stuff like that. But then later scenes, it kind of takes the camera out, and you were talking the other day about how this is going to sound like a really strange transition, but in Last of Us, you said that they tried to. It sounds like a very strange transition, but I'll get to that. Is that
Last of Us is a video game?
Yeah, they wanted to put the camera in places where a real cameraman could go, and at the same time, they wanted to do the perspective of Jack. So when they do crane shots coming up, you kind of think, is this really the perspective of anyone? And it kind of takes you out a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And then there's like random slow-mo shots where people are coming out and reacting to things, and it takes it away from the concept that would have been made a much more cohesive and better film, I thought.
Yeah, but I still really enjoyed it, and obviously Brie Larson is nominated, and deservedly so, because she's brilliant.
Definitely.
But actually, I think Jacob Tremblay not being up for supporting actor is...
No, I would.
I think a lot of people think that.
If anything, I know that this sounds like just kind of jumping on the bandwagon a bit, but I think that if he was nominated for supporting actor, he would probably be one of the favourites to win, if anything, just because it is such a strong performance. Yeah,
really good. And I think he's 7 or 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
I would love to see his speech. That would be the main reason I'd want him to win.
Just to be like, I've got to go off to bed now.
Probably more literate than Joe Pesci. Thanks.
But and I know I kind of went off on that mini rant just then, but it is a strong film overall, and it definitely is really enjoyable, and it does get you into. You do get attached to the character. You do, and I often fail to get attached to characters when it's like a fictional plot, especially when it's a child, because it kind of can be very easily to go from sweet to annoying on screen. Yeah, but no, I think that they did it very well, and I think that's partly due to the fact that I think the directing was quite subtle in a way, and also it definitely was. And also just the brilliant acting from him. Yeah, there was a lot of subtlety in it. There was stuff that kind of where you sort of knew what was going on here, but it wasn't sort of necessary to show that. Like the man who kind of has them locked up, he comes in and abuses the mother basically, but you're not really shown that because you're aware that that's happening. You don't need to see that, and Jack is kind of sheltered from that in the wardrobe, like he's not allowed to come out of the wardrobe, so it's kind of it's in a lesser film they would have just cut to something straight away, or they would have just had it implied what was happening but not actually show, so you kind of see what Jack is just doing in the cupboard at the time, and he's just kind of blissfully not blissfully he's unawares really of what is happening, and it's kind of just him being introduced not only to the adult world but now kind of to the extreme because he's being open up to the whole world. And I thought strong film basically. It's there's not that much to talk about besides the good directing and the acting, I thought. Yeah. What would you give it out of 10?
I think 8 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah, I'd agree with you on that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid 8 out of 10 film.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. What was the next one that we wanted to go into?
Well, I was going to ask Harrison a question. I mean, it's not quite the evening, but Harrison, can you feel the love tonight?
He's waiting for the response.
Yeah, I'm
Are
waiting.
you actually?
No,
I
I'm not.
assume.
I'm not.
Okay.
No,
we're having-
the song is not working again.
Surge
As
cart
Surge Cart
issues.
is ruined, so we're going to have to...
Well, why don't we take a journey, Harrison, into the windmills of your mind? Trip into the dark recesses of Harrison's mind. So yeah, sorry, we had some mild technical issues in the Surge studio, but all is well now. So yeah, that was Noel Harrison with The Windmills of Your Mind, which was the Oscar winner for Best Original Song in 1968.
The Thomas
Crown Affair, the original version. For the remake in 1999, there's a version of the song performed by Sting. So there you go, some trivia for you. Anyway, I know we are mainly talking about the Oscars today, but there's a certain other event that actually happened yesterday, isn't there, Harrison?
The Razzies happened.
Kind of the anti-Oscars, aren't they? Yeah.
Could you, if I talk about the Razzies, could you just fact check everything I say? Because I don't want to say anything
Okay.
wrong.
Yeah.
But so yeah, the anti-Oscars. You know, it's worst picture, worst actor, worst actress. They don't go into all the technicals. It's not like a worst sound mixing or anything.
Yeah,
But it's basically the broader broader categories that people care about, but the worst of. So this year, the ones that were nominated a lot were like 50 Shades of Grey was nominated for nearly everything. I think Jupiter Ascending was nominated for quite a few.
I know Fantastic Four got quite a few.
Fantastic Four.
I don't know about nominations, I don't know.
I don't know about its nominations, but the Fantastic Four was joint worst film this year.
Oh, really?
With 50 Shades of Grey. They shared the title of worst film.
I know that we kind of talked a bit before about how the Oscar Best Picture is kind of chosen by the fan favourite in a way, and that they feel like the film that they should vote for. And I definitely feel like it's the same with the Razzies for some reason.
Yeah, the thing with the Razzies is they've often been accused of being quite lazy.
Yeah,
Like, it's just, Adam Sandler had a film this year, so we'll give it to Adam Sandler. And that's probably true. They probably do pick the easy things every year. But this year I happen to agree with them, so it doesn't matter, because 50 Shades of Grey picked up so many. I don't think they split up the screenplay. I think it's just worst screenplay. I don't know.
Right.
But it's got that. It got worst actor. It got worst screen couple. It got worst film. And it got worst actress, which makes me very happy because I'm tired of all this. Oh, she might be good in other things, but she might not. Why? You don't say that when anyone else gives a bad performance in the film. Like when that guy who was in Transporter Refuel, we didn't go, well, he might be good in something else. We just went, he was bad. So let me say that she was bad, because she was bad, and she now has a Razzie. Good. And basically, I just looked at it, and I felt like, ha ha ha, and did like a proper laugh to myself.
I just felt it, and I felt confirmed in my opinion.
Yeah.
Was that up for any Razzies? Transporter Refuel?
No, no. They only go for like quite big films normally,
Okay.
or like American comedies.
Right,
They often get quite a few. Jupiter Ascending got one for Eddie Redmayne's fantastic performance in Jupiter Ascending, which is one of those like things, you know, where like usually people who are nominated for an Oscar are also nominated for a Razzie at the same
They
time.
tend to do that one bad film as well that year for no reason whatsoever.
And so that's in the long line of the tradition of that. But I'm just happy that 50 Shades of Grey got what it deserved. And I know it doesn't matter. I know that the studio don't care.
Yeah.
They made their money, they don't care. But I just like knowing that everyone else has some degree of sense. And that I'm not living in a crazy, mad world where people didn't think it was awful. Because it was. And she was awful. Don't let people tell you she wasn't awful. I've read a few reviews where they say, oh, she's the best part of it. She's not. She's not. She's not.
I feel like
the best part of it is the passable cinematography.
I feel like anyone that actually enjoys films for watching films in general dislikes it. I can't imagine anyone that wants to do film reviews or anything like that liking this film. I feel like it's the kind of person that goes to the cinema once a year and they thought, we want to go to this trash.
Yeah. Even then,
and that's why I think it made so much money.
It looks like a perfume advert. It looks like a real film. So anyway,
it's a feature-length perfume advert.
usually I get quite like annoyed by the Razzies because I think they're lazy and I think that they're supposed to be funny. Like they originally started as being like jokes that was like that would be like the awards would be jokes and they would have like funny little jabs at people, and then they just became Adam Sandler sucks. Let's give him one every year. But at least this year, they might have been lazy, but they lazily got it right. That's what I think of the Razzies.
I have a problem with them just because I feel like there's no. What's the point doing it? It kind of feels like one of these YouTube jokes that's gone too far, and you're just kind of like, okay, so we get it. There's bad films, but why can't we just forget about them rather than at the end of the year kind of almost celebrating them in a way? And it's not the so bad it's good that they're just highlighting how bad they are. But so I'm just glad that the Razzies are over for another year. Now
anyway, we will try again with Elton John. And Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Could you feel the love?
Yeah.
Well,
it was all right.
Something we will almost certainly feel tonight is rage when things win that shouldn't win. But we're gonna
Oscar season is like the Valentine's Day of hate.
Yeah.
It's an annual day of hate.
I'd be surprised if I get angry at anything this year, to be honest.
Yeah, there's nothing I'm that passionate about.
I can think of one that would make me angry.
Okay. Well, what we were kind of just going to do now is that we've got the Oscars website up, so we're just going to scroll through in reverse order. So we'll start with the ones that people cared the least about, and then kind of build up to.
When I was a child, or when I was a bit younger, visual effects was the one I cared about the most. I was always really passionate about that one.
I like the smaller ones because it's just more interesting to hear.
Yeah, I think it's because like all the news outlets just cover the same, and it's a little less predictable. It always feels a little less predictable than the acting ones.
Just because also there's not the hype around the films as much. Like there's no hype around one film's production design.
Yeah, exactly.
Really?
And I do think it's more interesting because they're the people that deserve to be celebrated.
Yeah.
Because the actors get celebrated all the time. But the people who do the costume design or whatever, like this is their day.
Yeah.
This is a day for them.
So let's start at the bottom of the pile because this is writing original screenplay. You've got Bridge of Spies, Ex Machina, Inside Out, Spotlight, Straight Outta Compton.
I didn't think Spotlight would be original because I thought it was adapted from their book. I'd say that it's Inside Out. I would say. I would argue that I think Ex Machina would be the second choice just because it's got smart dialogue in it, but it's not like I think we've both said that we don't like the structure of it in a way, like the ending. But
I feel like did that win the BAFTA? I feel like that won the BAFTA.
Well, but
it's a British bias.
But it's British bias. Yeah.
Also, if I can just say, Bridge of Spies, co-written by the Coens.
Yeah.
And it was a good script. So
I think it was a good script, but it's not enough to get it noticeable.
No,
I feel like Inside Out, they already probably feel a little bad for not nominating it for other things.
Yeah,
and so they'll be keen to
I feel like
something.
If it's not Inside Out, I'd be quite surprised. If it's anything other than Inside Out or Ex Machina, I'd be very surprised.
I personally would like it to be Inside Out as well.
My prediction is Spotlight, and you guys are going Inside Out.
Yep.
Okay, right, moving on. Writing, adapted screenplay.
Okay.
The Big Short, Brooklyn, Carol, The Martian, and Room.
I would like The Martian, I think Room.
I think Room. A lot of focus has been on Room.
Yeah, I agree. Probably Room, but I would say I would have quite liked Brooklyn to win. Visual effects, we've got Ex Machina, Mad Max, Star Wars, Force Awakens, The Martian, and The Revenant.
Okay, well, I think it's Mad Max.
I think it's Star Wars.
Yeah,
I would like it to be Star Wars though. So I'm in the opposite. I'm in the situation where I think it will be Mad Max, but would like it to be Star Wars, just because I think with the visual effects ones, they do have a history of just picking the film that they like, rather than picking the special effects that they think were best. They just
the
go.
Star Wars ones are pretty amazing.
And I know, but they clearly, Mad Max is nominated for more things, and I feel like that just means it's going to win those technical.
And I feel
ones.
like it might be a bit with what you said with Inside Out, as in some people might feel bad for Mad Max not getting other awards.
Give it
give it all the other ones. Yeah. So
what's your prediction?
I mean, I agree with both arguments. I still think Star Wars might win because the amount of work that went into it. I mean, it is the most special effects heavy, and they all look great.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I agree. I want Star Wars. Yeah. I want it to be Star Wars.
Great.
Yeah, but you think it will be Mad Max?
Yes.
To sound mixing, Bridge of Spies, The Revenant, Mad Max, Star Wars, and The Martian.
I think that in this particular case, as much as I like both Mad Max and The Revenant, I'm very confused as to why they're there, because Mad Max has some parts where the sound's a little off. Would you agree with that?
I'd say that it's quite impressive for the scale of it, though, and especially if it was recorded on set.
Okay, fair enough. But would you also agree The Revenant has been quite heavily criticised for its sound?
Yeah.
So I'm very kind of like, what's that doing there? Star Wars.
Star Wars. I just think it's just Star Wars.
Yeah. So sound editing.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. I'd
Star
say
Wars.
so it's between just say Mad Max Fury Road, Sicario, The Martian, Star Wars, and Revenant. And I think
I am glad to see Sicario getting mentioned there because the sound editing is really good in Sicario.
It's good.
Yeah.
And we come now to production design.
Cool.
Which is Bridge of Spies, The Danish Girl, Mad Max, The Martian, and The Revenant.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
I want Mad Max, but I have a slight dread that The Danish Girl might get it,
Really?
or Bridge of Spies, purely because I know that a lot of the Academy also tends to swing with period stuff.
That's true.
But then, I would argue that yes, maybe they do, but then I think The Revenant has.
I would rather the Revenant. Although The Revenant's mostly just actually there, isn't it? It's mostly just
but
real
like
location.
outfit choices.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But that's
and
costume
things like
design.
that. Very good point.
I feel like production design, Mad Max should win
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I've just got dread that the other ones
I'd like it.
will.
Well, I'm gonna say I think it will.
Yeah, music original song.
This is the one that could make me angry.
Earned It from 50 Shades of Grey, Manta Ray from Racing Extinction, Simple Song 3 from Youth, Writings on the Wall from Spectre, or Till It Happens to You from The Hunting Ground.
Right.
This is
any of them but 50 Shades.
I honestly think this is the weakest year.
Yeah.
It's
awful.
Because the simple song number 3 from Youth is good, but it's like a kind of piece of classical music, which it's good.
It's not
I'd
gonna
actually
win.
say it's probably, well, I don't know. I'd say it's probably the one most deserving to win. Writings on the Wall is just there.
Awful.
It's just there.
They're all, and I'm genuinely scared with this one that I do think 50 Shades of Grey will win, and I'm terrified. By
That would be horrendous.
It
if
just
was
feels
an
like
Oscar-winning film.
it feels like a bit of a lose-lose scenario.
Yeah.
Music original score:
Cool.
Bridge of Spies, Carol, Hateful, Star Wars, and Sicario.
I think Hateful Eight maybe.
I think Hateful Eight will
Ennio
win.
Morricone.
Yeah.
That seems.
If the Star Wars theme if it was up to the scale of the previous ones, I think it might have had a chance just because it's so iconic. But I think that there wasn't as much of a focus on big themes in this one.
It's
Yeah.
like I said, it's mainly because the film's moving like a mile a minute. It's just loads of action sequences.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And
it never
there's
has like those moments like Luke looking at the sunset where the music can take over. I would say Hateful Eight.
Yeah, I'd say Hateful Eight as well. It would be nice that Ennio Morricone will get the Oscar,
Yep.
even though I want Sicario too.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I liked bits of the Carol score, by the way, but I don't think it should win.
Yeah. Makeup and hairstyling, Mad Max Fury Road,
Right.
100-year-old man who climbed up a mountain,
I climbed out the window and
climbed out the
ran
window
away.
and ran away. Yeah, and The Revenant.
Are there only 3?
Yeah, there's only 3, and
Revenant.
I think. Oh, really? I think Mad Max.
Revenant.
You're the decider.
I think The Revenant
Okay.
because of all that sort of bear scratch
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Foreign language film.
I don't think
It's
we've seen
I'll
any
just
of
say,
those.
but Embrace of the Serpent, Thebe, Mustang, A War, and Son of Saul. And from the hype, I'm just assuming that it's going to be most likely Son of Saul because I've heard so much good stuff about that. And second, maybe A War, and that's it.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, editing.
Yeah.
Big Short, Spotlight, Force Awakens, Fury Road, Revenant.
This is the interesting one because, as we've seen before, they don't really know what they're voting for.
That's the
Instead,
thing, yeah.
It's just they
Yeah.
just pick a film.
And I feel like if it was just going on quality alone, I'd say it's between Big Short and Fury Road. And but I feel like The Big Short has been kind of a dark horse for some of I feel like a lot of the Oscar people really liked The Big Short, like more than I was
Yeah.
expecting, and I'm anticipating The Big Short to win.
And
I
this
would,
one.
yeah, film editing, and I
And-
wouldn't mind if it did.
And what do you think?
I haven't seen The Big Short. I think the Big Short will win. Yeah,
I think
The Big Short
Star
will.
Wars will win.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. Just because it's Star Wars. The documentary.
You would say Amy, just because that was your favourite.
Yeah, and
The
I think
one
and
that
it
you've only
grossed
seen.
quite well at the cinema, so I
Yeah.
think that's the logical choice. Directing: Big Short, Adam McKay, Mad Max, Fury Road, George Miller, The Revenant, Alejandro Inarritu, Room, Lenny Abraham, Spotlight, Tom McCarthy.
I think The Revenant.
If Spotlight won, I would be quite mad.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But I actually have started to come around to the idea that I think George Miller might win this one,
Oh, really?
and
Really?
The Revenant will win Best Film. But
Just because
Mad
they want to
Max-
vote something
But
different.
Mad
for
Max,
that.
I
Okay.
genuinely think Mad Max could win this one. But I think if I was asked to put money on it, I'd still say The
That's
Revenant.
I'm going to
Yeah,
go
I-
with the easy bet and say
Yeah.
The Revenant.
Yeah,
but
as am I.
I'm happy to have hope for
Yeah.
Fury Road.
Costume design, we've got Carol, Cinderella, The Danish Girl, Mad Max, and The Revenant.
Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
but
pretty
again,
easy
I
one.
feel like it's again with the period stuff. I feel like either Carol or The Danish Girl could maybe get it,
Potentially,
but I think
yeah.
that Fury Road should win.
Okay, cinematography, Carol, Hateful, Mad Max, Revenant, and Sicario.
Revenant.
Revenant.
Yeah, definitely Revenant. It
But
shouldn't
you-
be.
you
It
want-
should
I know
be
you
Roger
want
Deakins.
Sicario, and
Roger
if you-
Deakins should get it on principle.
You can
but
watch our Revenant review if you want to hear more about that.
more ranting. So moving on to animated feature film, we've got Anomalisa.
Inside
Boy
Out
and the
and
World,
3 other films.
Inside Out, Shaun of the Sheep, and
Shaun
When
of the
Marnie
Sheep.
was there.
And I'm so happy Shaun of the Sheep's
Inside
nominated.
Out's going to win.
It's going to be Inside Out.
To be honest, it's the only film that the people doing the Oscars have seen. To be honest, that's the main reason why it will win.
Actress in supporting role, which is Jennifer Jason Leigh, Rooney Mara, Rachel McAdams, Alicia Vikander, and Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet won the BAFTA, didn't she?
Yeah, I think
Did
she won the Golden Globe?
She had such a small role in the film. I found that very strange. But I feel maybe Jennifer Jason Leigh. I don't know. I thought that she actually gave the best performance out of all of them.
Maybe Rooney Mara as well.
Maybe.
Carol seems to be one that they've liked from the off.
Yeah.
Maybe. Actor in supporting role, we've got Christian Bale for The Big Short, Tom Hardy for The Revenant, Mark Ruffalo for Spotlight, Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies, and Sylvester Stallone for Creed.
I'd like Tom Hardy. It's going to be Stallone.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I agree with you.
I'm going to go Mark Rylance, Bridge of Spies.
I think they're very, very much sentimental and we liked him when he was in the 70s.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's the revival thing.
Actress in a leading role, Saoirse Ronan for Brooklyn, Charlotte Rampling 45 Years, Jennifer Lawrence for Joy, Brie Larson for Room, Kate Blanchett for Carol.
Brie Larson, I think.
Brie Larson's definitely going to win it. Yeah.
I've not heard anyone come
it's-
up with a.
I think the
viable
only
contender.
possible ones are Jennifer Lawrence because the Academy just loves her for some reason, and possibly Kate Blanchett
Because of the same reason, basically.
Yeah. But she's far better than Jennifer Lawrence. Actor in leading role: Bryan Cranston for Trumbo, Matt Damon for The Martian, Leo for The Revenant, Michael Fassbender for Steve Jobs, Eddie Redmayne for The Danish Girl.
The thing is, I don't think there is anyone there that does actually stand a chance against him for this year.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
it is
I'd
genuinely
agree.
the case. Like I can't. If anyone else won, I would
I think
be
it'd be
surprised.
unfair. I think it'd be, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Agreed. Okay, and then finally, Best Picture. We've
Yeah.
got Big Short, Bridge of Spies, Brooklyn, Mad Max, The Martian, The Revenant, Room, and Spotlight.
Okay. I'd like Mad Max. I am 90% sure it's The Revenant.
Yeah, I'd say the exact same,
Yeah.
basically.
I'd say it's Revenant. I prefer Revenant to win over Mad Max, probably. So, and I think it will win.
I'd just be very pleasantly surprised if Mad Max ended up winning the Best Picture,
Well,
just because it'd be so...
I would say
surprising.
I would be happy if Bridge of Spies won it, and I'd be happy if The Martian won it. So, yeah. Anyway, that was the Real Opinions Oscar
Quick
predictions.
Oscar predictions, yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back
And
next week, and maybe we shall offer some discussion on some of the outrages that emerge.
Yeah,
we'll probably be tweeting throughout the Oscars as well, so if you want to
we'll be
join
live
in
tweeting,
the hatred...
live tweeting, follow us. I'm sure we'll come up with some catchy hashtag. Follow us at Real
I'll
Opinions.
try not to offend anyone.
That's what we're
Yeah,
best at,
Harrison
catchy
will do his
hashtags.
best not to offend people.